Hi dears, welcome to my channel. Today we are learning class 8, 10th lesson sound. What was the 9th lesson? It was friction. Do you remember? I have asked you 3 questions over there and it's the time to answer. Let's see what are the questions. The first question was sprinkling of the powder on the carom board helps to dash friction. When we are sprinkling powder on the carom board, what happens to the friction? Will it increase or reduce? It will reduce. It will reduce the friction. Second one was friction is dash for the rough surface. For the rough surface, friction will be large or small? Friction will be definitely large. Third question, is it possible to eliminate friction? Is the question. Is it possible, ma? No, it will not. It is not possible to eliminate friction because irregularities are there everywhere. Okay. Now we are quickly going to lesson sound. When we are getting up in the morning till we are sleeping, we are hearing sounds, isn't it? We are hearing sounds at all and we are also producing sound, isn't it? So we should know what is sound, how the sound is produced and how the sound vibrations are traveling and all we should know. Not only that, how can we able to make sound and how can we hear the sound and what are the types of sounds, everything you have to understand, and in this chapter everything has been explained in detail. So quickly we can go through the class. Okay, sound can be produced by everyone, isn't it? Everyone makes sound, even me, you, everyone is making sound, and even this instrument also. Have you seen this musical instrument? If I am hitting it, it will produce sound. Okay, so from this we have to understand how the sound is produced. I am hitting with my finger on this instrument, it will produce sound, but the sound will be here to me, isn't it? The sound is produced and sound has to hear to my ears and sound has to be heard to your ears. How is it possible? It is because of the vibrations. When I am making sound, vibrations are produced in this part. When the part is starting vibrating, this vibration it is transferring to the air particles which is attached to this part. Okay, so the air particle which is in touch with this part starts vibrating. Then this vibration will be transferred to the next air molecule. That molecule starts vibrating. It will transfer to next air molecule. Like that, the air particles or air molecules vibrates and vibrates and vibrates. Finally, it is reaching to my ears. Then I will be able to hear. Okay, so we can find or we can say what is sound. Sound is a form of energy and it will be traveling in the form of vibrations through medium, isn't it? There should be a medium for the sound to be produced. Okay, so I am having a doubt to which extent the sound is traveling like this till its energy is over. If I am calling you in a feebler manner, you will be able to hear if you are very close to me. If I am calling you in a much more heavier voice, what happens? You will be able to hear even though you are at long distance. So if the energy is more for the sound, it will be traveling to a large distance, and if the energy of the sound is less, it will be traveling to a small distance. Okay, understood? Not only that, you should know one more thing, that is, will sound travel in a straight line or will sound be scattered away? Definitely, sound will be scattered away. It is not traveling in a straight line. It will be traveling in all directions. So what happens? There will be more chances for the scattering of this sound. If your class is silent and if your teacher is calling you by your names, you will be able to hear your teacher, isn't it? Very quickly you can be able to hear. But if it is a recess period and if you are making that much noise and if your teacher is calling you in the same manner, you may not be hear her voice. Because what? Why is it so? It is because the voice of the teacher has been scattered away. That's why you are not able to be heard. Okay? So, will the sound travels in solid or liquid or gas? In which medium it is traveling? It will be traveling in all the medium. In solids also, sound waves will be traveling. And in liquids also, it will be traveling as well as in air. Okay. But in solids, the sound waves travels much more faster. How can you prove it? It is a textual activity in which you and your friend has to participate. If you are keeping your ears on this bench, on a bench, and from the opposite corner, if your friend is making a little noise in that bench, you will be able to hear it quickly. And let me ask you, how will be the sound you are hearing? The sound will be much more bigger, isn't it? It will be much more bigger. Why? Because the sound waves are traveling in solids in this case. So what is the specialty of the solids? In solids, molecules are tightly packed. So when one molecule is vibrating, it will pass this vibration to the next molecule and it also starts vibrating. Like that, this vibration will be traveled so fastly and maximum sound you will be able to hear. And because the scattering will be less, it will be heard by you in much more louder manner. Okay. So you are understanding one thing, that is the sound waves travels in solid greater than the sound waves travels in liquid, greater than the sound waves travels in gases. Okay, let me ask you one more question. Will the sound waves travels in vacuum? No, definitely not. Because what? Why? Because vibrations has to be taken by the medium, then only it can be able to travel. If there is no medium, what happens? These vibrations will never travel. So what? It can't be heard. Any sound will not, the sound will not be able to be heard in vacuum. Okay. Now we should know the specialities of the sound waves. As I told you, sound will be traveled in the form of waves, and it is also called pressure waves because it will cause pressure to that particular area. The sound waves will be having high pressure and low pressure regions. High pressure region will be there and low pressure region will be there. And we should know one thing, sound waves are called longitudinal waves. They are called longitudinal waves. And how it is traveling, ma? It is traveling as this manner. We can say it is a high pressure region and this is trough. This is the low pressure region. Like that, in the form of waves, this sound is also traveling. Okay, which type of wave it is? It is longitudinal wave. Actually, sound can travel in two ways, as longitudinal as well as transverse, but normally sound will travel as longitudinal waves. Now I think you are having an idea about the sound waves. Now you should know one thing, that is how the sound is produced in human body. How the sound is produced, on which part the sound is generated? We will touch this part, isn't it? This is our throat. Okay, so what is the specialty of the throat? How we are able to make sound through the throat? When we are going to see what is inside, we can find that there is a voice box. We are saying it as larynx. Larynx is there, isn't it? Where it is situated? It is in the upper part of the windpipe. Okay, it's seen in the upper part of the windpipe. There you can see two vocal cords. Two vocal cords can be seen, and through these two vocal cords there is a small opening. A small slit, we can say. A small slit can be seen, and through this the air can be passed. From where the air is coming? The air is coming directly from our lungs. So the air from the lungs, when they are passing through the slit on this on the two sides of the slit, what is that? Vocal cord is there. When the air is passing through it, what happens? This vocal cord starts vibrating. When it is vibrating, sound is generated. When this air is entering to the mouth, there is a tongue in it, right? So the tongue and the mouth entirely gives shape to this sound, so that whatever we are saying, the things will be much more clear when it is coming outside and the others can hear it. Okay, so this is how the sound is made in humans. Okay, how can we increase the volume? How can we increase the volume? When someone is calling you with high volume, have you ever noticed their throat? Then it will be much more strained. Have you seen? It will be much more strained. So means what? This vocal cord will be much more tight. So what happens? The slit will be much more narrower. So when the sound is released, it will be having much more force, or to say energy. And this makes the sound in high volume. Okay, this is how we are able to make sound. Now you are going to see how you can hear the sound. Yes, now we are going to see how we are able to hear a sound. We are hearing the sound by our ears, isn't it? How many ears are there? 2 ears are there. For us and for most of the animals, there is an external part for the ear. The external part of the human ear is called what, ma? It is called pinna. Okay. So what is the specialty of the pinna? It is the one which absorbs the sound waves from outside. Okay. Surrounding sound waves can be absorbed through this pinna. Okay. So what happens? The sound waves are traveling through the pinna towards inside ear. Okay. When the sound waves are traveling, it reaches a part. The part called eardrum. What is the specialty of the eardrum? From the name itself, you are having an idea. That is, it will be in the form of drum. How the drum will be? It will be a stretched one. Okay, the eardrum is also a stretched membrane. What happens when the sound waves are hitting on this eardrum? It starts vibrating. Okay, the eardrum starts vibrating. Then these vibrations will be moved to the middle ear. The malleus, incus, stapes are present. So, to the malleus, incus and stapes, these vibrations are moved. What happens? This middle ear amplifies the sound waves. Okay, the sound waves has been amplified in middle ear, then it enters into the inner ear. Inner ear contains 3 semicircular canals and also a cochlea is present. The cochlea contains fluid. This fluid also ripples or moves, which generates nerve impulse. When nerve impulses are generated, these nerve impulses are transmitted with the help of this auditory nerve present, and it is transmitted to brain, and the brain senses what the sound is. Thus we are able to hear a sound. Okay, is it clear? Now we are going to see some important terms of the sound, that is amplitude, frequency and all. As we know, sound is transmitted from one place to another in the form of longitudinal wave, but it is mathematically expressed in the form of transverse mode. See ma, when a loudspeaker is making noise, sound waves are generated. There are some pressured area and there are some pressure less area. See ma, this part where the pressure will be high is called compressions, and there it is the rarefaction area. Then again compression, then again rarefaction. In that manner, in the form of longitudinal wave, the sound is traveling. But mathematically, we are representing the sound in the form of transverse wave. See, when we are drawing a graph has pressure over here, the sound waves are traveling in this manner. The upper part called crust shows that this is the part where pressure is very high. Okay, this is the high pressure part and this is the low pressure part. This low pressure part is called a trough and the high pressure part is called crust. So, when we are drawing in this manner, we can find out this is the amplitude of the sound. What is this one? This is the amplitude of the sound. What do you mean by this amplitude? Amplitude means when the sound is vibrating, the surrounding medium also, the particles on the surrounding medium also vibrates, isn't it? So, this amplitude shows to which extent or how much the particles are vibrating. If we are making a small sound or feeble sound, the particle will be vibrating in a feeble fashion. So, the amplitude is very low. This shows the amplitude. Okay, so for the feeble particle or for the feeble sound, the amplitude will be in this manner. But if the sound is having high voice or loud sound when we are producing, the amplitude will be in this manner. Which shows what? This shows the particles which are vibrating is to this extent displaced. The molecules of any medium, to say air or liquid or solid, in which sound is traveling, is displacing in this manner. To this extent, the molecules are displaced. So, we can say the amplitude as how much the particle is displaced. Amplitude shows how much the particle is displaced. Okay. Now, there is yet another term, that is frequency. What is this frequency? Frequency says how many oscillations are produced per second. Okay. It shows how many oscillations are produced per second. To say for high frequency, it will be like this. For low frequency, it will be like this. Even though amplitude is same, the frequency may change. So what is the frequency saying? How many oscillations are produced per second? Okay. There is one more thing which is related to these frequency and amplitude, that is loudness and pitch. Okay, what is this loudness? Loudness is the one which you know already. That is when you are talking in a soft manner, this is the soft sound. But when you are shouting to a child, it will be what? It will be the loud sound, isn't it? So loudness is depending on frequency or amplitude. Loudness depends on amplitude. If you are spending more energy, in the sound will be much more louder. That means amplitude is also increased. To say loudness is square of amplitude. When the amplitude is 2, the loudness will be 4. In that manner, the loudness is depending on what amplitude. Okay. Unit of the loudness is expressed in the form of decibel. The loudness is expressed as decibel. Loudness depends on energy in which the sound is produced. If the energy is with high energy, if you are talking, it will be a loud sound, isn't it? So for that, the amplitude will be very high. In that manner, it will be going. Okay. So about the loudness, is it clear? What are the important things of loudness? Loudness is the square of amplitude. With more energy when you are talking, more loudness it will be. And then what? Then we can say the unit expressed in the form of decibel and all about this loudness. So what is pitch? Yet another important term is pitch. What is this pitch? Pitch is depending on the frequency. That is how many oscillations which the particle is produced per second. If the pitch is high, the frequency will be high. Pitch is depending on frequency. Is it based on the energy? No, it is not based on the energy. For various objects, pitch will be changing. To say, if for example I am having something with, this is the cup, normal cup I am having. If I am making a sound with the spoon on this cup, sound is heard, isn't it? It is having a particular pitch. If the same spoon is touching on this plastic, the sound is different, isn't it? Means the pitch is different. The same energy I am exerting on the mug also and also on the plastic plate also. But still the sounds are varying. So we can say the pitch is varying for different objects. To say even man and woman pitch are entirely different. Your mother's voice may be much more shrill sound, while your father's voice may be the bass sound. So men will be having bass pitch while the woman will be having shrill pitches. Isn't it? Not only that, that's why in songs and all, female voice will be much more higher tone and the male voice will be much more basser tone. Okay. Not only that, we can say the bird's sound is having shrill sound, means like the woman's sound. So how beautiful our voices are, right? Examples for high pitch sounds are woman's sound, bird's sound. To say even the cat's voice, all these are having high pitched voice, and low pitch voices are men's voice. Then to say this frog's voice or dog's voice, all these are bass pitches. Okay. So I think it is clear for you about the difference between the loudness and the pitch. Okay. High energy sound, loud sound, but varying sound, pitch sound. Okay. Now we are going to see about the audible and inaudible sounds. Humans are able to hear sound when the frequency of the sound ranges between 20 Hz and 20 kHz. Okay, between 20 Hz and 20 kHz, the human are able to hear the sound. But if the voice or the sound is below 20, we are not able to hear. It is called the infrasonic sounds. The dogs, whales, all these communicate by infrasonic sounds, but we are not able to hear. And normally the earthquakes is having sound. It is heard in infrasonic ranges, and that also we are not able to hear. So below 20 Hz, the sound is infrasonic sound. And above 20 kHz, it is called ultrasonic sound. That is much more higher frequency sound it will be. Even though ultrasonic sounds are the one which we are not able to hear, it is used for the treatments of various diseases. To say for the treatment of cataract, for the treatment of kidney stone, tumor and all, ultrasonic sounds are used. Have you heard about ultrasonic scans? All these are because of the usage of high frequency ultrasonic sounds. Now we are going to see about the musical sound and the noise. Is there any difference between the musical sound and the noise? We are able to make the musical sound, isn't it? Even though we are hearing for a longer time, we will be happy only when we are going through it. This is the pleasing sound. So we are saying it as musical sound. But there are some sounds which when we are hearing we will feel very uncomfortable. It is called what ma? Unpleasant sound, or we can say it as noise. When you are talking a lot, the teacher will say, don't make noise. Will she say don't make music? No. She will say don't make noise. Means what? This is a unpleasant sound hearing for the teacher. That's why. So the noise can be produced by you, me and all. Not only that, when the automobiles are making horns for a longer time, it will be as a noise. Nowadays, noise pollutions are getting increased, and if the noise pollution is getting increased, it will cause much more hazards to the environment. So we have to avoid noise pollution. With that, I am concluding this lesson. I am not going to leave you. This is the question time. Shall I ask you questions quickly? Yes. First question. Loudness of the sound depends on dash. Loudness of the sound depends on whether it is depending on amplitude or frequency is the question. Okay. Second one. Unit of loudness is dash. Unit of loudness is. Third one. Which of the following instruments produce sound through vibrations? Option A, Ghatam. Option B, Sitar. Option C, flute. And option D, tabla. Which makes sound through vibrations? Okay. Answer these questions and we can meet in the next class.